What happened? Molly, you never see a Rastaman drink a cup of tea yet? What happened?
Greetings.
What happened? Only expect to see me holding a Heineken or a Guinness Stout?
Yeah,
that would make you more comfortable.
That's representative.
No, boss, that is not on my livet. I don't use the word diet. That is not on my livet. Anyway,
I feel
good evening. All hear me good?
Yeah, it's sounding good, man.
All hear me good? Oh, I need to come in close the mic right here. Good? I coming through good?
It's straight, man.
All right. Yes. Good evening once again, and welcome to another episode of Caribbean Feedback. Good night, Lucy O'Brien. Thank you so much for joining us once again. One of our avid supporters coming in very early on the show. And I do agree with you, Sam. We need to start printing up some T-shirts, some kind of promotional items that we need to pass out to some of these avid supporters that we do have. The strong supporters.
And have a big Caribbean feedback.
Yeah, they are the backbone of the show, and we need to show them our appreciation to let them know that, hey, we do. Empress Judith Smith. Blessed love to one and all.
Good night, Empress.
Good night, Empress Judith Smith.
That's my cousin.
Good night.
That's my cousin.
That's your who? That's
my
your cousin. I didn't know you have family. You have
family, man.
You have family.
Mr. Raymond Richardson. Me have family. Sure.
Mr. Raymond Richardson. Good evening.
The pussy lime in hard tonight.
All right. Bless up, Judith Smith. Where did I reach? Let me start over because I kind of forget. Did I even say good evening? Good evening once again, and welcome to another edition of Caribbean Feedback. My name is Curtis Henry. Sitting in with us this evening, none other than Miss Karin Forrester from BantuKreations and Mr. Samuel Archer from Muzilog. Hopefully, sometime in the very near future, within the next few minutes, we will have our resident doctor on board, our problem child in the classroom.
You saw the clip this week, right? You also saw the clip?
Oh, yes, Dr. Judith Barnes.
No, we don't know if Dr. Judith saw the clip, but the clip got a lot of responses, man.
Hopefully she'll be joining us very soon. Very interesting conversation on the plate tonight. Let us begin as we normally do by introducing ourselves, letting the people know who we are and what it is we do. Miss Forrester, let's begin with you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Karin Forrester. I represent BantuKreations. BantuKreations offers beautifully made, African-inspired, lightweight, handcrafted, one-of-a-kind earrings in wonderful shapes, shades, colors, and sizes. BantuKreations can be found on IG and on Facebook as BantuKreations. That's BantuKreations with a K. Back to you, Mr. Henry.
Thank you so much, Ms. Forrester. Mr. Samuel Archer, talk to the people.
Well, I'm Samuel Archer, the people's champion and musician, and I am the one and only. All other Samuel Archers are imitation and carbon copies and so on. So, they need to go change their names because I am holding down the Samuel Archer name for now and forever. Praise the Lord. And I hail from Muzilog, the online publication. We'd like folks to jump over there and subscribe. This is the place where music, entertainment, and culture lives. We want to thank the people in the chat tonight. The chat looks like it's going to be bubbling later. So, people need to start bringing in their, bringing their comments and so on and let us know how you feel. And I'm also the author of the book, Hybrid Executive. And it is available at Book Baby, Barnes & Nobles, and you can get it for your Nook, if you have a Nook, iBooks, and what's the one that Kindle, right? Kindle is the one from Amazon. So you have the ebook available, and It looks like a really nice little package there. You know, good information to get your mind, get your game up and everything together. So we are at the point of the show where we signify the number of the episode as we are growing. So let's see if everyone have their thing together.
Yay.
All right. You all ready? 10.
10, right?
10.
That is 20.
10.
That is 30.
And
how much is that string, man? They look bent up like mine.
yeah, man. Episode 33.
Number 33.
That's right.
Give your hand, give yourself a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Persistence, consistency, and we keep putting one foot in front of the other. We keep moving forward. And let me see. Let me introduce myself first, and then I'm going to come back and pay homage.
That's right. That's right.
Once again, my name is Curtis Henry. I am here on behalf of my other YouTube channel, which is Caribbean Chatt. Caribbean Chatt provides a platform where we celebrate the history and culture of Caribbean people in entertainment, the arts, politics, sports, economics, and education. We explore the many profound contributions that Caribbean people have made to society. Look us up on YouTube at Caribbean Chatt. That's chat with 2 T's, CHATT. Or you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And while you're on YouTube subscribing to Caribbean Chatt, make certain that you subscribe to Caribbean Feedback.
That's right.
Give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, or as everybody else said, might as well as say it too, smash that subscribe button. Let us know how you feel about us. Let us know that the love is there. Let us know that the love is mutual. And let's keep the thing going. Thank you so much, Empress Judith. Commitment to service, 33 shows. She says,
That's right.
Congratulations. So wait. How come everybody saying hi to Karin? Wait.
That's
Lucy.
my family, yo.
Hi, Karin. Wait. It's have other people here on the show and everybody only saying hi to Karin.
Karin have a lot of fans, you know. She have plenty.
I don't know about all of that, but you know.
Good evening, Dr. Judith. Pull the screen down a bit. Let the light shine on your face. You're kind of dark.
It's dark over there. Light up.
Hi, Dr. Judith.
Light a little matches there, man. Light a little matches.
A little kerosene lamp, at least. Yay.
Light a candle or something.
All right.
Good evening, Dr. Judith. I welcome you with a round of applause. Nothing but smiles and salutations this evening.
Right.
I know last week I kind of beat up on you, but you know, I ain't ready to beat up on you yet for the evening. So, Mom, I ain't got nothing to say. So, Dr. Judith, introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, what it is you do.
Hello, folks. How are you? As Mr. Samuel Archer would say, there's only one Judith Barnes, and there's none other.
Right.
My name is Judith Barnes. I have a PhD in Christian counseling and a master's in family and pastoral counseling. And I'm an author, and I'm a painter, and I'm a storyteller. And there's some of my paintings. Yes. Mr. Archie, you're right on time tonight. You almost makes me want to employ a British accent when I see you work so wonderfully. And I am I'm the mother of one son, and I love the Lord, and I'm grateful that He loves me too. And I have a very large family. They're not here with me, but they're around somewhere. And I am feeling better than I've felt in a while. I'm getting stronger. Okay. I'm not going to stay all night because you guys, I would stay with you until tomorrow morning at 2 o'clock, but I can't do it. So, but I want you to know that I appreciate you. I'll say this in Jamaican. Check phone in a star. They're all right with me. All of them is very all right with me. I thank you to let me be a part of this.
That's right. That's right.
Is that versatile enough for you?
But that is good. That is good. That is good. We just had Mr. Richard Ewan joining us, and once again, hi Karin. So my daughter used to say, "What am I, chop liver?"
Chop liver without the seasoning.
That sounds very unappetizing right now.
But yeah, you see,
what an image is that?
That is a very important lesson for all you meat eaters, all you carnivores who talk about meat. Yeah. Your meat don't taste good unless you season it with plants. So they cuss the vegetarians about eating grass and eating all of this, but in order for them to stomach the meat, they have to take plants and season the meat.
And the cow has to eat the grass
in order for the cow to grow. So you want to be big and strong like the cow. Don't eat the cow. Eat what the cow eat. And then you become, okay, Lucy, now she's saying good night. I already heard. Don't leave me for second place. And now because I talk and start to carry on, you want to jump in 15 minutes later and tell me good night. I am not with it. I am not with it. But good night anyway. Welcome. But I'm letting you know, I hurt. And Karin, before the show, tilt your screen a little bit so we can see the K in the creations on your sign. No, sideways. Yeah, right? Yeah, that's better. Now we can see the whole name of your company, BantuKreations.
Thank you.
Great. Lovely. So Dr. Judith, I want you to know we have an Empress Judith in the chat tonight, and I hope she join us on the conversation. So we have two Judiths.
Oh wow!
As if having one was a handful.
Okay.
I hope Judith in itself doesn't embody a certain personality, because
I promise you she does. I promise.
If this Judith that you invited is anything like this Judith, well, I know.
My name is in the Bible. I want you to know, strong woman.
I'm walking off the show. I'm walking Satan in the Bible too. I'm walking off the show. So
you're wrong. You're wrong.
No, I'm talking to shit. I'm talking to this one here. I'm talking to this one
wrong.
Here.
You're on a roll. So, is it holy?
Satan in the Bible.
Yeah. She trying to justify her name to talk about it's in the Bible. Oh, it's so what? Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Dr. Curtis Henry, you're on a roll. Is it whole wheat?
It's the mint. It's the mint. It's the mint tea tonight. It's the mint tea tonight. Nevertheless, at this time, I'm not into the moment of silence, but I do want to pay homage to one of our greats. Yes. One of our greats who has passed on, transitioned today, or was it last night? Mr. Bunny Wailer, the third member of the iconic group Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Oh,
he was the lone surviving member, and he has transitioned into the other realm. I don't know what is beyond this one, but brother, if you meet up with Bob and Bunny, make some music again. A few weeks ago, we lost singing Sandra from Trinidad and Tobago, a very powerful voice in the art form of calypso, a very powerful woman indeed. I had the opportunity to interview her some years back, and she had a very interesting story to tell. I didn't get a chance to get her on Caribbean Chat, but once again, safe travels to Brother Bunny, safe travels to Sister Sandra. Your creation, your creations, your everything that you put forth is so valuable, and it will forever be treasured and loved by us, your fans.
Mr. Dr. Henry, don't forget Mr. Vernon Jordan. Here,
enlighten us.
Excuse me?
Enlighten us.
He is one of the forefront people in the forefront of the Black movement in America. The whole what do you call it? I'm sorry. The whole, what do you call this?
Civil rights.
Civil rights. There's the word. Civil rights movement in America.
Advisor to Bill Clinton.
Right.
So we want to recognize
brilliant man. Brilliant man. He died at 85 today. So
safe travels to Brother Vernon also. Karin, Mr. Ewan is asking you to tilt your thing back up so he could see the Jamaican flag. I don't know why. As far as I'm concerned, it's good as it is.
Sita, Richard.
No,
Richard, sit here, man. Oh, yeah, go
the
on.
one on the wall.
Colours
The
them
one
there.
on the wall.
I know.
Oh,
I know
gosh,
which one he's talking about.
Why we had to do that? Why
Man,
we had to do that?
I don't know. I don't know how this going to
That's
work
good.
out
That's good.
today.
That's good. No, you're going too high now. You're going too high.
Gone too high.
Yeah, but all right, we good right there, so.
You know, in
Sit here,
Cool
man. Sure.
Cool Runnings,
Colours represented.
the man say, and we have this bobsled team, and where are they from? And everyone in Jamaica.
Yes.
Oh,
That was funny.
So recently, I saw a post on Facebook, and it read, I putting my own attitude into the statement. You leave your Caribbean country and your family to go wash people clothes, clean toilets, be maids, and to boast how you live in America. Now, the gentleman who posted this, he took a lot of flack from Grenadians, Trinidadians across the board. He eventually turned around and apologized for the insensitivity of the statement that he made about the generation gone by. I'm talking about people who came to America in the 50s, in the 60s, to do domestic work. You leave your Caribbean country and your family to go wash people clothes, clean toilets, be maids, and then boast how you're living in America.
My main issue
Panelists,
with that, sorry.
Allow me to share a part of my story. My mother left me in care of my grandmother when I was about 5 years old, seeking out what they call new opportunities in America. Back in the 60s, many Caribbean nationals would make their way from their respective countries to US Virgin Islands and then somehow make their way to the shores of the US, hoping to find gainful employment, or in some cases, marrying someone with the hopes of obtaining a green card so that they could send for the children that they had to leave back there. As a child or something like this, I didn't quite understand why my mother, my father left me behind to go to America. I didn't understand the master plan, what that was all about. My mother left around 1967, and over the years, she would send an occasional box of clothes or a barrel of food. I can't remember exactly how many times she returned to visit, but in 1979, she came back and asked me if I would like to come and live with her in America. This time I was about 17. I reluctantly accepted her offer. And within a few months, I took up residence in Brooklyn, New York. Not at that time understanding why they had to make this journey. And then I came up here as a teenager, not understanding anything about this country, the rules, the laws, the inner workings of how things go. Never sign up in school and ended up in the military, which is a totally different world from this outside world. Did the military thing and came out in the mid-80s. It was almost like I'm here for the first time. And then had to learn Brooklyn and learn America, what that was all about. And at that time, I had I had some issues communicating with my parents, mother and father, because somehow I felt that the early years that what I considered alienating me, it created that gap, a gender gap, a generational disconnect where we couldn't relate to certain things. Panelists, let me ask you all, did any of you have any kind of boy, Lucy
said, get the number right. Get the number right.
Thank you, Lucy.
Lucy said, get it right.
Yes. Thank you, Lucy. I left at 16. Yes, I left at 16. That is an inside laugh. Those who know, those who don't know. So, yeah. So let me ask you all something. Did any of you have an issue communicating with your parents, if at all you separated or when you reconnected?
Yeah, I did. I couldn't understand for years why she pulled me when she did, other than understanding she didn't want her daughter growing up there without her, after a
When you
certain
say
age.
pull,
But
you go into that for me. What do you mean?
it feels like she just yanked me out of the country secretively, and just one day I was there and the next day I was here in the States. She didn't allow any ceremonies to take place, and a lot of that is superstition, which I don't agree with or buy into. But back then, they certainly believed strongly in it. And she just pulled me. And one day I was in Jamaica, the next day I was here. And very few people outside the family had any clue. So I didn't appreciate that. And I sort of resented it for quite some time, you know?
Did
And,
you have any
and so
trouble? You had any trouble settling in when you came here?
settling in, oh my God, the culture shock was ridiculous. I'm from country, and coming to Manhattan, from a country setting in Jamaica is I don't know if I could put it into words. It was true culture shock. True culture shock. We you know everything was different. The people, everything, buildings, everything. It's a concrete jungle from my natural setting to a concrete jungle.
Did
And
you
then no
hold? Did
family
you?
around me.
Yeah, but did you hold her responsible for this change and all these changes you had to go through?
Yes, absolutely did for many years. Yes, absolutely did. Took me a while to understand her way of thinking, or her reasons.
How many years passed between the time she left and when you all reconnected?
I wouldn't say we didn't connect. It's just that she didn't sit me down and explain anything to me. I wouldn't say we didn't connect because
No, I
we had
said
a
when you
good.
reconnected, the time
Oh,
she
you mean
left.
from
Yeah.
7 years. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. 7 years. 7 years.
Wow. On the other hand, some of us born with gold spoon in our mouths. They grow up with both mother and father, mommy and daddy. So they don't understand some of the pain that we feel. Yeah, yeah. Give me kuya mouth. I'm talking to you, Judith.
You know that.
What you're trying to say, you have both parents and everything cook up nice and sweet like sugar dumpling and all that?
That is how I see it. That is how I see it, bro, because
Not
I never
so.
had that.
Not
I never had that.
Not so.
I was raised by my grandmother, who raised us on $30 a month pension. 3 children
You were
on
blessed.
$30 a month pension and whatever
You were
she could,
blessed. You were
whatever
blessed.
she could get from America.
You were blessed. You're sitting here now. You were blessed.
But at times when you see a bitter, and I have a very low tolerance for certain things and certain people, understand why.
But I understand that.
So if that is a blessing, okay, call it a blessing. I wouldn't say that.
Listen, my parents were together. It doesn't mean that it was happily together. It meant that they were in the same house. They had issues. They had fist fights. And when him punch her, she punch him back. And they cuss. And she turned up the radio, and he said, and when she turned up the radio, when she turned it up, and back. Foolishness, bad, poor relationship. But they were there, and I tell you something, my father never left us, not once. My mom did. She was always running from us. It was too many of us. But my father never left. But in terms of like you said about it was your grandmother. Then my grandmother was with us too. We were very blessed. We had grandmother, father, and mother in the same house. So we were very blessed. I don't think my siblings realize how blessed we are. But as you asked Karin, when I came here, I think in 1971 to live permanently. I just thought it was a joke. I mean, my mom had brought the other siblings here already. And of course, so I wanted to be with them. But I wasn't crazy about coming to America. I wasn't upset about it, but I wasn't crazy about it. My philosophy is that about this traveling to America, the Great White Hope, the Great Way, the Golden Arches, and everything. I think it's been overrated, over-publicized, and it doesn't offer good quality life. It offers supposedly financial, gains that's going to make your lives wonderful. And my whole idea about immigration, especially from other countries to this country, is that it can't meet up to the expectations. It cannot. It cannot. And that if I had stayed in Jamaica, I'd have made something of my life. Anywhere I was in this world, I would have done something with my life. I don't think there are a lot of West Indians and a lot of Jamaicans I know, especially the middle class ones, that swear that if they had not come to America, they would have died. And I don't believe that's true. I believe that the God of America is the God of the Jamaica and all around the world. And anywhere that you are, if that's what if you have a relationship with him, he will see you through. And I don't believe, when I was in Jamaica, I read about countries all over the world. America never stood out like, whoa, that's the place to go. I never wanted to leave. But when your parents fill out the paperwork and you go down with your manila envelope and you go down for the interview down at the embassy and they take your picture and everything's set up, what am I going to say? I'm not going. No, they pay for the flight and I go. Let me tell you, when my mother came to America, it gave me some freedom because I used to have my hair straightened all the time. I washed that suck out of my hair when she left. When she left Jamaica, I washed the straightening out. I was free. So for me, coming here, I'm obedient. I came. I'm here this year, 2021. What am I? Oh gosh. I'm here 50 years. 50.
And you don't look no older than 45.
Wait. I'll pay you later. But the thing is that what I don't like about this immigration thing or whatever is that we continue to think that America has the answer, and it's not true. We're just as disjointed here as we are in Jamaica, just different cultural norms and stuff. But we are, as a human being, you got issues. And I think there's some here that are worse. And in a way, I wish that I had stayed in Jamaica. I probably would have been on radio or something like that. But the bottom line is that I did what my mom said. And my father always said, America is a woman's country. I'm not living there. I agree with him.
Empress Judith said, thankfully, our wisdom and consciousness are now way expanded, resilience and gratitude. But the question I have for Judith, is it because we here and come to America because of their sacrifices? Would we have been feeling the same way had we been back there if they never left to pave the way for us? You don't know.
But I never saw it. Let me tell you this way. I was a very precocious, bright young woman. I mean, that's not boasting. It's just facts. I was very aware of the world. I knew Dr. King's speeches. I paid attention to when Kennedy was assassinated. I wasn't just a teenager. I was aware of the world. And I never saw any... I'm not very nationalistic. So that's the issue with me. I don't believe in all this big up Jamaica, big up America. I don't believe in that nonsense because people are people, different cultures and stuff. But that's what my issue is, that anywhere that I am, and that's how I look at it. Maybe it's narrow, but that's how I look at it. Anywhere that I am in this world, anywhere that I was, I would have done well. I would have pursued things and I would have gotten to know people, the same person I am now. I believe that. I just think that we keep ourselves narrow when we start one country. America, listen, don't let me get started because I got issues with this place, okay? So
I agree with you on the resilience and the strength. That's from the foundation that you received in the family. And that's what, that's what we really want to focus on. I just think that coming here, we have access to so many more things. But the resilience, the strength, the ability to flex with different circumstances, good or bad, that is from the family and our culture there.
Karin, I agree.
Yeah, but hold on. We're talking about it right now. We're talking about the country. We're talking about the culture. We're talking about extended family.
Right.
What I want to do right now, I want to bring I want me to talk about the parents and their responsibility in all of this. Contribution, responsibility, however you want to call it.
Listen, when I was
Go ahead.
when I was 15 and a half years old, I stopped going to school when I was 14 in Jamaica. I just stopped. I didn't want to be bothered. My father, I stayed home, and one day I said to my father, I said, Daddy, can you get me a job? I was 15 and a half. He said to me, you want to work? I said, yes. Could you get me a job at Gleaner? That's the newspaper company. He was working there in the reference library. My father went and spoke to them. His name is Mr. Seal Coon. He's from England. And my father went and spoke to him. I went in for an interview. This man about 6'19", and I've been this height for a long time that I am now, which is 5'7". And he looks down on me and he asked me all these questions. Don't listen. I knew the custos of every parish. I knew everybody's names. I'm telling you, I love information. So when he interviewed me, when he was finished, he said, "You're a brilliant young woman." So he really? So he hired me on the spot. I worked a full-time job at 15 and a half years old. I worked it for a year, and then my mom sent for me. But what I'm saying is this, and I agree with Karin, the way my family was, my parents, my grandmother, there was a standard, there was expectations that was put on all of us. Till this day, we carry the same things. So it is true. We were a certain attitude, a certain things were expected of us. But Curtis, our parents let us down because their parents let them down. We all let each other down. They failed us. We fail our own children. That is generational. Why? Because we're imperfect. We're going to make mistakes. My mom brought me to this country, and I think she felt bad after a while that she did. And I had to tell her, don't you ever worry about me. I am here, and I made the best of being here. And I never wanted my mom to feel bad that she brought me here. Because at some point, I could have gone back. At some point, I could have, I had enough money, education. I could have gone back if I wanted to.
So I just want to chuck in. Now, my experience is a little different because, it's just different. My whole scene will be a whole other thing. But I do have a song called Caribbean Man in America.
Oh.
And what we're talking about is so timely because remember, for our parents to want to make this leap, you had to have some kind of vision. Remember now, they didn't have they didn't have, all you probably had was an encyclopedia and all these different things. And you had something, they saw something a little bit more than what was being offered at the time. So the norm was, I remember speaking to my dad, and the norm was, after you finish standard 5, you go to standard 7, and then you go and you learn trade, and then that is it. You get married, and that's it.
So what happened to 6?
Well, what happened to you?
You say you leave 5 and go to 7, right? What happened to 6?
Yeah, well, of course you had to do standard 6 and standard 7. I try to save my little breath here.
I knew you was gonna say.
The whole thing was, my dad saw and felt he needed to do a little bit more than just learning trade. He learned the trade. He did all of that, but then he's like, this it? So at his age, he went to high school. Well, I think when he told me he was in Form 1, he was already in his 30s.
Wow.
And went to high school in Trinidad at CUC. It's called USC now, but they have a high school and a college. So he was already mature. Went to school. Got associates at it was called CTC at the time, Caribbean Training College, and then relocated. Now, the reason why I'm putting this story out is because Dr. Henry will know that my dad also sponsored a lot of people. Over the years, there's a lot of people that came here that he sponsored that we don't even know. I don't know all the people, but there's a lot of people here from different islands that, you know, he would just be the man. I think I gave you all a little bit of the story.
Wow.
Somebody will come and knock on the door and say, yes, so and so, tell me, and you know, so this was the thing back then. But I think the yearning for someone to sacrifice and say, you know what, I'm going to come out and at least start the process, you know, because they're just coming to see what will happen, you know, and so I don't want to do it where we upset, or we want to give them all the blame and say, well, yes, they failed and all of that. It hard to say, well, you know, when you have some kind of progress, something will suffer in the process. And so I just want to at least bring, you know, personalize it a little bit so we could kind of see, well, what did they see at that time to come and start laying down a foundation, because they saw something a little bit higher that they wanted to achieve.
Hey, Sam.
Do you think we give them sufficient respect,
Sam,
for the sacrifices that they had to make?
To a degree, I don't, because you see, us looking at it, we mightn't understand the level or the magnitude of the respect we really need to have for it. So it's, you know, we just feel it, we just responding to you know, we respond differently because based on what we see, but you're not really seeing the big picture.
Sam,
I would compare them. Sorry, Karin, you come back in a second. I would compare them to the founding fathers of America, who left the shores of Europe to come to a strange land, not knowing what they would find here, to come over here and build a nation so that the other people could have a place to come and call home. We didn't see it like that.
They were being chastised heavily.
Right, for whatever the reason, but we for a long time, I don't think a lot of us saw it that way with our parents in terms of some of the menial jobs they had to accept coming to America. Right. What their vision was for us. And then we came here, and some of us came here almost as adults. And like I said, I came here as a teenager, went into the military right away, came out an adult, a young man, just beginning now to face whatever this country had to offer. And then having children now who were born here and grew up in this society, and they now are that first generation of Americans. They're born on this soil, right? And they have all these privileges, and they learn the system from babies into adulthood, and they now know. And some of them look back at us and figure, well, we didn't do enough. Little did they know, what were we working with when we come here? I'm speaking about people my age. Right. What were we working with? I knew nothing about college. I knew nothing about student loan. I knew nothing about credit. I knew nothing about none of these things. These are things I had to learn upon arriving to these shores. So it took a long while to figure it all out. And by that time, you start having a family of your own. You start having children. And they now don't appreciate the struggles that we went through, talking about my generation, went through in order to adapt to this society. And worse yet, don't even want to hear about the grandmother who you always talking about something, or you had to walk 4 miles to school, and they don't want to hear that struggle. What we went through back then, and one pair of sneakers, and when I get it was too big and I had to stuff newspaper on the inside. They don't appreciate those stories because that's long ago. So long ago.
But there's a reason for that. Karen, go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Oh my God.
Then I will speak after that.
Two things. Something that Sam opened up with. When you talk about how they're looked down upon for the menial jobs that they did, I teach children of all ages. Be proud. Take pride in everything you do. Whether it's sweeping a street corner, cleaning out a house, cleaning a toilet. I don't know where this mentality came from that we look down on people for what they do. That same person probably put several children through law school and medical school. I don't believe in that, and I don't support that mentality at all. Back to what something you said a few minutes ago, Sam, is that the show, when I thought about generational disconnect, it's from the point of view of more of the millennials or the generation just before them. This is to truly honor the people who paved our way in our families. It is nothing negative from my perspective.
Okay.
It's just the miscommunication,
Negative,
the miscommunication that led to a disconnect. I am not disgracing anyone or putting down anyone. I am so proud of the people who have paved the way for me in my family. And that's what we're paying tribute to them today. It's not about being negative. It really isn't. But there has been a disconnect. And I want us to really evaluate that and see where did we go wrong in losing that.
Let me say,
To see how much they've done. I'm so sorry, Dr. Judith.
That's okay. Let me say this. One of the reasons for the disconnect, I think, is that there's an embarrassment. Some people, Jamaicans, this social class issue that they have, and there's some of them that have a problem with. My mother came in; she was a domestic worker. She had her sons were on raid in Jamaica and kicking butt down there, but she came in; she was a domestic. I never in my life felt ashamed of my mother.
Never.
And then later on, she became a CNA. I never had any thoughts about what she was doing. I know she took care of us. And she could have come here and forgotten about us. There's a whole bunch of kids left back there. She could have come here and forgotten all about us. That's one thing. The second thing is, I think that what happens is that we put so much pressure on coming to America. I mean, it's just, listen, people from Europe have the same attitude about America. We're not the only ones. I work with people from Bosnia, from Poland. Everybody wants to come here because this country has been built up as the beginning and the end of the world. It's not true. It's fraudulent. One of the problems that I have, and had I been older, I probably wouldn't have come here, is that maybe we need to stay where we were and build up where we were. Maybe we need to fix where we were and not always looking outside to rescue us or for a better world. Because you know what? People in Jamaica don't believe in planting anymore. They don't want to farm anymore. They don't want to do those kind of menial things because America gets in their psyche and they believe that this is the beginning and the end of everything. Another thing, a lot of Jamaicans, and I say it about you because I don't know other islanders to that, except now that I've met this crazy one. I'm sorry, Sam, and Mark, and I've known Curtis for years. But the truth is, what a lot of this, you talk about millennials, the reason why they're where they are is because some of us from our generation have this attitude, I'm going to give you what I never had. Mistake. People have to understand that the reason I was cleaning the toilets, I was doing all of this, and you're the beneficiary of that. Well, guess what? You're not going to have smooth sailing. I purposely make things difficult for my son. He must not believe that the world owes him anything. He must understand. Listen, for about 2014 through 2016, I was doing domestic work. I was washing and ironing people's clothes. I was cleaning office. I was cleaning people's houses. And somebody, yeah, PhD. Let me tell you about PhD. Don't be stupid. It's not dollars. It's a degree. I worked hard for it. But I'm not going to starve, and I'm not going to end up on the street to say, oh, I can't do that. That's beneath me. Well, the pavement will be beneath me after a while if that's where I think. But we don't, and I heard an African-American say this sometime a couple of years ago maybe, we have forgotten to tell this generation about our generation, about how we got here. That's why they're so stupid. That's why they're so ignorant. They must know, as Curtis talks about coming here, that trauma of coming here, almost like Karin said, 1 minute you're there, next minute you're here. I came here and I said, you know what I say? I was a Biafran toothpick. I was this size and I had big so afro. And I was scared of everybody and anybody. And I was crazy enough to wear toeless shoes in the snow. That's how crazy I was. So the thing is that we don't tell them. We make it seem like, you know, America saved us. Saved you from what? And they need to know the truth about our generation. That's why they're so confused about their generation.
The other
Let's
thing
bring in.
Oh, you're not bringing someone?
Yeah, no, let's bring in what Anthony Brown said. He said, I think they understand the state of the country, meaning our country, respective countries at, you know, in that time. And they just felt, based on what they were told, that America was better for us. And it also had a lot to do with what was seen on TV at the time.
Of course.
Yeah, so we had these perceptions about what we thought America was. And people like Karin get highly disappointed when they came and saw the concrete jungle, because somehow I just throwing this on you, Karin, because I'm going to tell all of the truth. I'm not, very few things scare me. But God as my witness, when I went to Harlem in 1979, when I went to Harlem, the only thing about Harlem that stood out for me were the blaxploitation movies. Cotton Comes to Harlem and the Fred Williamson movies, Pimp Here and Pimp This and Prostitutes on the Corner. When I went to Harlem in 79, I expected that any second a convertible Cadillac is going to come screeching around the corner with a guy in a pimp suit shooting back at somebody else, because that's what I saw in the movies. And I expected to see that when I got here. So don't think I'm just picking on you. I don't tell these stories often, but yeah, I was a bit shook, expecting to see some foolishness like that. But go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, before the conversation too, we on the tail end, and I just wanted to listen. Now we also have to consider that I forgot there's a psychological term when you're raising children. You know, there's a point where they want to distance separation and individuation. Right. So there's a time when you know, and we do it to our parents. Our kids do it to us, and so on and so on. So there's that space, you know. So I think that dynamic is also getting caught up in the situation. So sometimes the child or who, you know, whoever have to start facing life for themselves,
right.
And then when they start to pay their own rent and work for their own food and their own grocery and pay their light and those things, then they start remembering, oh wow, my mom did this, my dad did this they sacrifice and so on, and now they now start to understand. So I think that also got caught up in the mix of everything, you know, from what America was, you know. I remember when George Bush, the father, said, we whip the world with our culture, right? Where everybody want to come here. And he was right. Everybody want to come. So if you're selling something and people come in, this is what we're facing with it. So I just wanted to throw that dynamic there before
there's a difference between a child becoming more autonomous, developing his or her sense of autonomy, and disregarding your cultural heritage. My thing is, how did we forget? How did we forget to keep our traditions when we get here? Most cultures do. Most ethnicities do. But for those of us that come from the Caribbean or other islands, we tend to just start assimilating. We don't use the same foods. Pardon? Our culture.
Yeah, Karin, I agree with you on that. But what about language? Language and stuff changes from generation to generation.
That's part of it. But we don't focus. And I know that I've shared this with a few people. Because my mom wanted me to blend into whatever you want to consider the culture or the subcultures here. We didn't speak patois at home. It's a good thing that I learned it in Ayad. She didn't speak it to me. The foods, there were a couple of items that she maintained, but it was mostly American or even Asian and Italian food. I think most people tend to keep their religious practices, but they let a lot of other things slide by. And there's a point where you have to pay for that with the other generations that follow. If you let those things slide, most ethnic groups don't let those things slide.
But what's okay? My question is this then: what is it about us that makes that happen? That allows that to happen? I think that we are not we especially Jamaicans. We tout, we this and we that, but we really don't have that much pride and ownership of to come here, because the Italians come here, the Puerto Ricans come here, the
Asians.
Haitians,
The
black
Haitians.
too, but the Haitians hold on to and the Asians.
Mhm.
But there's something, but you know what it is? I think, now this is I'm just throwing out this now. I think Jamaican in particular, we just licky. And every style will come. We want to pick it up.
Follow
You
fashion.
can't leave Jamaican out, you know. You can't
But
leave out.
it's part of that struggle to become more American when
Americanized.
you come here.
Yeah, but listen,
it
but
is.
remember something, remember that every country has different cultures within it.
Mhm.
And it has migration within it. So remember, the people from country in Jamaica went to Kingston. That was a traumatic event for them. Remember, no matter where we live, there's always migration going on. So the fact of the matter is that people from Clarendon go to Kingston to go to school or whatever it is. And you or I might not know that for a fact. But people going from city to country or whatever are traumatized. I heard that my father he was asked to be a law clerk. My grandmother, what did she do? She had issues with him. And that was her issue. And she took him overnight like a thief in the night and took him to town. And he never got to have that opportunity. And he was a very young man. Now, my grandmother had issues with her only child while she did that. But what I'm saying is that you must remember that within each country, migration is always taking place. And there are people in Jamaica that I've heard speak. In New York, I would never have known they were Jamaican. They sound like they're African. And they come from Jamaica. I heard a guy in Mount Vernon at a Jamaican store. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I was like, what in God's name is he saying? And I'm not joking. This guy was from Jamaica in the country, and I could not understand half of what he was saying. So all of those things taken into account. We come here, we licky. I don't care about the ones. I keep that word. We licky. We believe that anything is better than what we have. Anything, and that's a black problem. That to me is a black problem. Anything, any culture is better. We embrace it, and we think that anything like that is going to lift us up. So that's what we embrace.
I don't understand why we can't.
Half of that has to do with age. Half of that has to do with that gender gap, because you cannot expect a teenager or a preteen to hold on to things that you may seem valuable, but then it doesn't exist within their peer group, but yet still they're holding on to your ideals. They have to assimilate within that culture of which they now become a part of.
But they should have a balance.
Look, let me tell you something. I remember one time telling my mother, went out the night, met this girl, came back talking on the phone, and she's observing me, and she said, look like you meet somebody really interesting. And she said, so how she look? I say, she looks sick. My mother looked at me like, what? You pick up a girl who looks sick? What? There was no comprehension of that up here for her, within her peer group. But now I had adapted what the street culture was saying, and forget who I was talking to. And I'm telling her, the girl looks sick. And she couldn't understand it. Why would I want to entertain a girl who looks sick?
You can embrace the culture that you find here without assimilating and losing your identity from your own country.
But assimilating don't
no
necessarily
sense to
mean
me.
losing.
Just like when people think that they have to look like everybody else. You have to love the skin you're in. When you achieve something in this country, educationally, financially, whatever, I think you have a duty to sow after you have reaped and sow it back in your country as well. When did we forget that?
Did we ever know it?
I think we did. I think we did. I think that my people that were my mom's age and before her, I think they did. Yes.
Well,
At
they
some
did,
point we forgot.
but you know what? I still say we come here, and I'm telling you, somebody they were very passionate about it, and I agree with them. You know, there were times when we told stories to our children about what happened.
Right.
How many people you know tell stories anymore to their children?
We've lost the storytelling.
Okay, and that's in our community.
Yes,
that's major.
That's true.
Because the white community is not going to tell our story.
No, they won't.
We've got to tell it. And that's one of the reasons why I remember years ago, somebody asked me about going out to demonstrate. And I said, listen, I'm trying to help somebody go to college. That's why I'm demonstrating. Because the walk is fine and all that is fine. But we need to teach, like you said, we need to teach our children that they got to reach back. They don't know that because you know why? They don't see us reaching back. They see us get a Mercedes and it become about the Mercedes. They see us get a nice house up in Plantation and it's about the house and it's about Plantation. And that's what they're looking at. They're not interested in what we're saying. They're looking at how we're living. The church, even the churches in Florida especially, that's where I lived for a long time. The whole social cycle in the church is about we've arrived. You go to these churches and it's like a social club. And let me tell you something else. In some of the churches, they dance like they're in the nightclub. So whatever it is that we used to think about religion, we don't even think about that anymore. And when you see the woman wind up in the church, I said, man, y'all are losing your minds. But that's because even the very pastor not carrying on the tradition from Jamaica or wherever they come from. So the young, like Curtis said, young people are not going to try to hold on to something that we're not holding on to. They don't see the significance in it.
A friend of mine told me the other day, one of his son's friends actually got up and said, yo, I got to get out of this house, man. I'm tired of all of this old people conversation. And he had to laugh, you know, the fact that now he's considered old people. That, because our parents are gone, right? Our parents are gone. So in the eyes of the children,
we old.
We are the old people.
So I want to chuck this point in. By the way, you all understood when Curtis say he tell him mother the girl's sick, what it meant, right?
Yeah. She's sick good.
All right, good. I just want to make sure I understand that. But when I was in college at New York City Tech, I had a brethren. We was a couple of brethren was linemen. And so one brethren, he was from Trinidad, and he expressed to me that his sister is a singer. She sings and so on. And I innocently asked him, I mean, it wasn't really about what she was really singing, like what genre. But I just innocently asked him, I said, so what she doing? She's doing calypso or, So then, but his response was shocking to me. His response was, my sister gonna leave Trinidad to come here. Calypso. I couldn't even respond. I was like so like the expression, and it was something that stayed with me because we're talking about this right now, and I remember that moment, and it came from somewhere. It came from even where you're home, and even with the churches, some might have a prestigious status, or the school might have a prestigious thing about it. So when you pass the common entrance or what have you, or you see that they call it C exam now, and you pass the C, and you pass with this school or you pass with that school, and you have all these little kind of dividing kind of things. So now when you come to America, it's like, well, all right, well, we're putting all of this behind, and now we look at, we're in America now. It's sort of that sort of a mentality. And a situation where we have to encourage and show our next generation, look, you know, you need to have a balance and understand this. You need to have that balance. And Karin is correct. Other ethnicities make sure that their children understand it, whether they want to or not.
Exactly.
This is how we reach here, and they make sure that they understand that. But when he said that to me, it was a shocking. I was like, wow.
But you know, Sam, part of the issue is for us again, and this is something I have thought and I continue to believe. Is almost like, well, it's like we was practicing back home, you know, reggae and calypso, where we come workers, real life now. So you put away foolish things like that because this is America, and America is money, and part of our issue, and I've seen it. I work with a Jamaican woman like that. We're still looking for the white man's approval.
Oh.
We're still looking for his approval. You look at us, how we talk. Oh, you talk like you're white. Oh, so because what I'm saying is intelligent conversation, and I speak well and I enunciate properly. That makes me white. It's our perception of America, it's our expectation that causes us to let go so easily. Because if you don't think that you had anything of value, why would you hold on to it? I mean, this is America, little Jamaica. But little Jamaica could be powerful if a lot of us had stayed there and tried to do something there. I didn't have a choice when I came here. But I really believe that we have a problem with sticking with things because our value of ourselves continues to be questioned by us. We question our value more than anybody else. And let's be realistic. If you don't think that well of yourself, why would you give your children that history? I told my mom and my dad many years ago, when I was very young, I said, thank you for all you've done for me. I mean, it's just whatever it is that they did, that's what they did, and I was grateful. But children, and then again, we give them so much so easily. Children having $200 phone, I bet
but
they would have
I part with you on that particular one. I part with you on that particular one.
That's okay.
Because we as the older people right now, as they say, we cannot hold on to our old ideals and somehow look at a child and say, what you need a $200 phone for? We have to remember in this society, hold on. We have to remember in this society, a phone is no longer just a phone as it was to you and I. A phone is it's a telephone, it's a flashlight, it's a photo album, it's a camera, it's a notepad.
Who gave it that significance? Who gave it that significance?
That is what it is. Forget about the significance.
No.
That is what a phone is today.
No, so that's why they don't have no regard for what we give them.
No.
You don't deserve it.
No. How you gonna say a child don't deserve a phone? This is what they need in this day and age.
I'm talking about the cost of the phone. I don't need a $200 phone.
But
so
then
why would I
do.
give a child that?
But then they do.
Hold up. What is
you don't need it. You don't need it based on what you do.
They need it? They need a phone that rings when you call them and they can call you. That's what they need.
Once again, that is your old idea, and you cannot put that on the children.
Oh, yes, they should have it. Oh, yes, they should have it.
Hello.
Let's look at something else here. A lot of us today have issues with children in regards to what their sense of fashion. Now, I'm not condoning this, but let's just say for argument's sake, sagging pants, tight clothes. But ask the question, how does some of their styles compare to some of the things we wore growing up? I remember in Trinidad at one time.
No. Mr. Dr. Henry, I am going to sign off. Let me explain this to you. Let me explain this blouse and skirt to you right now. Let me tell you this. A picnic is a picnic. They don't deserve things that I work for. They don't deserve nothing. Let me tell you, they need a phone that rings, and when I call them, they answer, and they can call me if they have a problem. When they go to school, they need to be taken away from them while they're in school. They're creating havoc in the school system. With
so you telling me,
phones.
Judith, you would send a child to school today with a Nokia phone? With a flip phone for them to be laughing?
Listen to what I said. Read these lips. It dial and it can answer. That's it. That's why they're so confused.
Hold on. But do you have one of these phones, Judith?
Listen to me. Listen to me carefully. Read my lips. I have a phone. Listen to me. Listen to me. I have a phone that costs $200 or something. I didn't buy it. Listen to me. Listen to me. I didn't buy it. I have a millennial son. Him insists. I tell myself, let me tell you something. Do not play with me. I need a phone that rings. That's what I said to him. He went and he said, Mom, you have to have this. Because he bought a phone for $600 or something. That is madness. That is
what he needs. That's what he doesn't need in this society.
He doesn't need it. He wants it. Bold.
How are you going to say you don't need that?
Hello, people. How much for a phone today? With a plan.
Look at Anthony Brown just said, that's like saying, why do you need an electric lamp? We should still be using candle.
That is the reason why we're so broke. I don't have no cable in my house. You know what I have? I have an antenna in my house. And I get the basic channels. And I'm giving nobody no $500 a month for cable. We have adapted ways that are destroying our community.
I have your Christmas gift for you right here, sir.
You're joking.
This for you. No, because we don't need electric. Let me say this.
I never said that. I never said that. I am telling you.
Why do we need an iron? Why do we need an iron? We have a cordless one right here. Look, I could send this one for you. This is cordless. No electricity.
You can talk any foolishness
right here. You don't need electricity to use this.
Listen to me.
You want me to send this for you?
We have.
You want me to send this for you?
I see them down here. You can. I can.
No, you're gonna need. No, you need a coal pot with some coals. Or a fireside outside. Let me see you do that in the winter.
What's the term? What's the term now? You have taken it to the point of foolishness. Listen to me. Listen to me.
No, man.
A child does not need. Listen, if they need the same level of technology that you got, send them out to work. Then you're crazy.
No, you're crazy. No, you should not send your children to work. It's your job. It's my job. I bring them here. I don't want to send them to work.
Listen to me, Star. Listen to me, Star. At 15 and a half, I started working. And whatever my father brought home, you know what this girl said? Daddy, I'm going to put my money with yours. And we are going to run the household. Let me tell you something. Lack of responsibility is destroying our world. No accountability. Now, I want it now. And I want the expensive one. I had a phone before. I bought it. Cash, $69. Drop it in the toilet. I drop it in the toilet. So my son said, I'm going to buy you another phone. I said, okay, but don't bother buy me nothing expensive. Listen, I don't mind that it takes pictures. I don't have a problem with that. But let me tell you how I am built. If I never take a picture, I'd be all right. I just saw
when you don't have it, you don't know what it is you're missing. If you're still living back in 92 with a Nokia.
Curtis, when I had cable for years here in Georgia, 2014, I went into a foreclosure. Let me tell you something about life. Let me tell you about my life. A lot of things went out the window, and I've not brought them back in. Because the reality is, I have more in savings. I have more. Listen to me, man. I just started an investment program the other day. $200 phone, blow it away. They don't need it. They need sense. They need reasoning. They need how to learn to save their money. Listen to me, Curtis Henry. Dr. Henry, listen to me. When I come into this house that we are living in, my father said, you know what you do? Stop, open an account and start putting in there $25 a week. The same amount of money you might be using to buy lunch. When the HOA, the Homeowners Association, fees $400 a year. It's due March 1st. They send the bill to me from January. Let me tell you something. I had that $400 from last November ready because I'm disciplined. This bull that we treat these children, they must be held accountable. They must be, listen, don't drive me crazy. Drive me crazy.
blows
Go pull out your Encyclopedia Britannica if you want to. I'm gonna use Google. But anyway, Empress Judith Smith, thanks for the conversation. Good night. She had to leave us. Anthony Bong said, a phone is knowledge in the palm of your hand. Get used to that.
Good for that.
Jane Alexander said, she's with you. No child need a $600 phone. It's ridiculous. All right, buy them one for $5.95. I understand that. Empress Judith says, past her bedtime, no need to cloud up her heavens before going to bed. She have to guard her consciousness to make sure she have pleasant dreams. So she has to bid us farewell. She had to bid us farewell and leave. Good night. Thank you so much, Empress Judith Smith, for joining us. And Miss Georgia K, you made a comment somewhere earlier on that I saw and I forgot to comment on. But she said, children are wiser and the standards are higher for us now. For us children, hold on, Georgia K, you're a child? I didn't. Clarify that one for me.
Clarify that one for us. But we have to be wiser.
Let me, Sam, as a musician, as a recording artist,
yes,
tell us something about the songs, about music over the years, and why it is now a lot of the younger people cannot relate to some of the stuff our parents used to listen to, that we grew up on, that sometimes a lot of us try to force on the children. We went yesterday from a singer talking about let me hold your hand to nowadays where you have somebody sit down, girl sit down punny, come make big gal up punny, and how things have changed and how it is the children cannot relate to some of the music of our ancestors.
Well, that we could look at that a whole lot of different ways, but life keeps evolving. Our language evolves, our habits evolve. I remember I was about probably 9, and a song came on the radio. Never heard this song in my life, and my mother started singing to the song. And when she finished, she said, "That is music." And to me, I listened to that, and I was like, "What in God's name was that?" Now, I have 2 daughters, and actually they're the ones that keep me up to date, because I am from the era of, let me say maybe the tail end of the disco era, which is the late 70s into the, so of course it will probably be Earth, Wind and Fire, LTD, Prince, Michael Jackson coming up, Whitney Houston, Isley Brothers. Then you come to Guy, and Guy was like the mid 80s, and you come up. Now my kids listening to stuff that is a whole different thing, different languages. Sometimes I have to say, well, what that mean in this song? And oh yeah, well this means this and this means that. So both of you are right, but both of you, meaning Dr. Henry and Dr. Judith, you'll need to bridge a gap. You'll need to sort of connect the bridge, because I don't know anywhere right now where you'll find a phone for $200 or less than that. I mean, a phone right now, an average phone is about $600 for average.
No.
Listen to me.
No,
listen to
that's
me.
not
Listen
correct.
to me. Listen to me. I go anywhere, and I'm not joking about this. I'm very serious about it.
I thought we
If you are intent, if you're intent on getting what is in style, I'm serious. If you're intent on that and you want to keep up, and that's what a lot of us want to do. I don't want to keep up. Not in the way most people want to keep up. Like I said, I have antenna in my house. I have the basic channels, and I have some extra ones. I am not that fascinated with television to go out and spend $150 a month for cable. I'm not fascinated. When I realized that most of the channels I never watched anyway, I'm like, what is this about? What am I paying for? A phone, I go to a store. I don't go in there and say to them, well, I need this and I need that. I need a phone that rings. I need a phone to communicate. we have lost sight of what communication is. We text to death, and we don't even know the people we're texting to because we're not the nuances of talking to people. And Curtis might have remembered this. You learn, you can hear a person smile on the phone. We don't pay attention to little nuances in each other more because we're texting and we
They have
don't
an emoji for that. They have an emoji for that.
Yeah, take your emoji and go emoji yourself.
We have to draw a bridge because my point is I think we need to have a balance with the whole situation because
Tell me why, Sam. Tell me why.
Because things are evolving. We can't.
What does it mean things are evolving? Because we're going to evolve away to nothing.
So put it this way: what God meant to me as a teenager, and what God means to my children now as young adults is two different things.
That's their problem. That is their problem. No, because he doesn't change. So it's their problem.
Okay.
He doesn't change.
All right, Dr. Judith, I'll give you that one. But my point
it's
is
their issue.
The communication, the thinking process, that's not the word I'm looking for. Sensitized. We're sensitized and desensitized to certain things. So what our generation will pay attention to and what they are paying attention to is two different things.
Why?
So I am not saying to get the $1,000 phone. I'm not saying to get the $600 phone, but a child today need to have a phone.
I never said they didn't, but they don't need to have the same phone that you, a hard-working person, has. It's just making sense. Okay. They have to listen. They have to evolve, as you say. They have to go from stage to stage. When a child gets older, they get more. But to give listen, if you get so much at a certain stage in life, what is there to look forward to? That's why a lot of children steal.
I agree with you, Dr. Judith, about the 60, just keep the value, the cost down on the phone. It's about having access to the information, being able to contact somebody during an emergency. I don't believe in that 200, 300, 400 plus phone.
Crazy.
That makes no sense to me. What I don't appreciate generationally, which, comes back to us, is their sense of entitlement to those things. Their entitlement to that $600 pair of sneakers and the $600 phone or the $1,000 whatever. That comes back to the foundation that we've been discussing.
There's a young man in Georgia about 5-6 years ago. Some other kids from school. He went to school. I guess he was showing them his sneakers. You know what they did? They broke into his house, his family after school. His parents was at work. And those boys tied that young man to a chair and took the sneakers and shot him dead.
Shot him?
Shot him.
That had nothing to do with the sneakers. That's about them.
But it's the value placed on the sneakers. No, it's the value placed on the sneakers. There's another 2 young men here in Georgia about 7 years ago. They shot their parents because of the insurance. Listen, we are raising a generation of sociopaths to some degree. They're entitled. They must get it. And you know why? Because parents, listen, the school where the school that I work, it's middle class, whatever, that whole neighborhood. The school is one of the top rated in the country. Let me tell you what is happening. You see these little kids come in. They're coming for a game or something. They're driving BMWs. They're driving Mercedes. They wouldn't get it from me. They wouldn't drive it. It must not be. There's a graduation. You went through it. All of us went through it. Has it made us worse people? We're raising sociopaths. We're raising children that have very little conscience about the evil that they do. And it is evil, some of what they do. And I'm telling you, the more tolerant we get with them, we will pay the price. That couple, that the kids, they tried to get the 2 brothers out of prison. And they said that the law is decided they're going to be in prison for a while. And they're lost about what did they do. Imagine your parents, you shoot them because of insurance and say somebody broke in or whatever. And then I must come and get you that you're behind, going to stay there. So the bottom line is we have gone too far the other way. We've gone too far. Farmer, you're not getting it. You're not getting. Okay, take it. No young child deserves to be driving a BMW. You can barely spell your blasted name. You're not getting it. And until we go back to some of that, you need a phone that is basic. Mom, Dad, something's wrong. Or can you come? Where are you? You say you're going to come pick me up. You need communication. And people need to sit down with their children at dinner time like they used to. They need to have meals together. All that antiquated stuff, we need to go back to it. And
no doubt. I will never deny that one. I always talk about that as family. We need to commune a lot more.
And the phone needs to be away from the table.
Oh, yes, I do agree with that one too, because so many times you go out in public and I could almost tell you, I could walk into a restaurant right now and tell you which couples are not going to make it, which couples are not actually together or in love, based on how they sit there when they, I can't even find where my phone. Just kidding, it's right here. Just kidding. That is how some people behave when they can't find their own for 2 minutes.
Listen, I couldn't find my phone a whole day at work, and I was all I need to know, my son know, here's the number, you can call the school if you need to. It's crazy.
Yeah, but this year you go to a restaurant and you see two people waiting on the food, a couple, and they sit down like this. Something is wrong in that relationship.
When the two of them wrong ones out there
across from each other and talk. So I understand your point to an extent. I ain't agree with you 100%, but I understand. Let me go to the comment box. Diane Roxanne Martin says we need another show just for music. Sam, you got to come up with that one. That's another show by itself. Music then and now. How much time we have for that one? So Sam, we're going to leave that one in your hands. And I am just Georgia K said you could get a $600 phone with a $20 phone bill. So somewhere you need to compromise in between there. So before we close out, I want to ask everybody the same question, starting with you, Karin. Are we preparing our children for our world or the world that they will be existing in? We complain nowadays about the fact that they no longer teach children how to write cursive in school. And we cannot see how that is even possible. Why a child can't write cursive based on the world that they are going into? I don't think somebody's going to need it because you're doing electronic signatures and all of that nowadays. So they may not need to have to go sign and whatever. I'm neither here nor there in the argument. But after the question, we still have children reading clocks 5 after, 10 minutes after, 6 after, when all of their devices are digital. Are these lessons from the past still important based on how we had to learn Roman numerals, which we still understand today? Are we preparing our children for our world or the world that they will be existing in, the future? Karin.
I think the various institutions are preparing them for the world that they have to live in. But I think we are responsible for teaching them about the history of things. What is funny, we had a conversation recently about a cashier whose computer goes down.
Yes,
and that cashier could not do a basic mathematical equation without the computer. She was paralyzed. That's ridiculous. As for the cursive, there are some nuances to being able to even just write a letter. Be able to write a letter to someone and express how you feel. That is a fine art that should not go anywhere. Not everyone needs to adopt it, but at least have the basic knowledge. Basic knowledge.
So Karin, listen to me. Listen to my sister. Listen to me, my sister.
Hold on. You finished, Karin? You done?
I had something I wanted to read. I wanted to answer your question before you attack me after the show and tell me so I never answer your question. I wrote.
No, you answered.
No, I have something I wanted to add. Look back to learn. Look forward to live. How dare we forget the path that was paved for us in mind? the strength, the tears laid bare, the obstacles overcome, just so we could appear. How dare we neglect the legacy which binds? We don't need accolades, we don't require accolades. We just need the basic inherent respect and gratitude. Teach what you have learned and keep the relay in play. How dare we forget? Done.
A round of applause.
I see you can't wait. Go ahead, man. I ain't even call you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Listen to me.
Go
Let
ahead.
me tell you something.
Stop pointing your finger at me, woman. Go ahead.
You're not that far, you know. You're not that far from here. Listen, what you just said, Karen, is the way I feel. You know, being ambidextrous is a powerful thing. If one hand is not working, the other one can usually do something. And the things that we handicap people when we tell them, well, you know, you're going out into that world. You don't need to know anything about this world. No, we need to equip them. It makes you more powerful. The more information I have, is the less thrown I am by something just popping up. I worked in the South in the 1980s as a cashier. And a young woman who was training me laughed at me because I could not count backwards. And instead of teaching me, she was having more fun laughing at me. And I remember my sister Betty was there. She told the girl, she said, if you mess with her, I'll kill you. So I come from a whole long line of, anyway. So what I did is I made a decision. Because my sister stood up for me, I felt empowered. And I made a decision. I'm going to learn how to count from $100 backwards. One day the electricity went out. And I was able to count backwards. I was able to add tax and give them their change. It is powerful to have information. And what we're doing, we're telling them, oh, and that's why they're so rude and disrespectful to some of us. Because we're basically told them, where you going, you know, that's big stuff, you know, no, take some of what I got with you. Because you're going to need it. Because one day electricity is going to be out and you can't read the clock. You should have the equipment. You should have the knowledge. If you don't need it, you don't need to use it. But to tell me that a phone is my lifeline, that is crazy. And that's what we're doing. We're saying Google. Yeah, I use Google. I'm not stupid. Rather than do so, I go to Google. But I have to keep reading books. I have to keep reading articles. I have to keep my mind open. Because as the word evolve, people love this word evolving. We use all these cute words. Listen to me, we get old. All of you get old. And it is best that we get old in a wise manner. And I'm telling you for the last time tonight, phones are a means of communication. It's not style. It's not class. It's something that we need. And until we let our children know and our grandchildren know, grown women, especially women, okay, I'll get the phone for you. Go sit down someplace. We have to decide, millennial or whatever we want to call them, that we're still the adults and they're still the children. And they'll become better adults. And they'll become greater historians to their children according to how we teach them history. That's it, sir. I done.
This is show number what?
35.
Mr. Archer.
Yeah, let me just give my I write down some little pointers really, so I could just run through it really quick. You know, about a year or two ago, Ellen, what's her name? Ellen what? DeGeneres?
No,
Yeah.
Degenerate.
Degenerate? Yeah, Ellen. She had a show, an episode where she had a dial-up phone and yellow pages, and she had some young people come up and say, all right, well, look for what she did find a auto insurance, or find a mechanic and make an appointment using the yellow pages and the dial-up. And if you guys never saw that, you might want to
I've seen it.
check how that was a very interesting experience. So the other thing I want to talk about is I used to look at a lot of kung fu movies long time, and there was a certain science in the kung fu films where the old man will keep a technique for himself, right? The master, he'll keep a technique for himself. He wouldn't teach that to the kids at all, or his students, because maybe one day one of his students might want to come and take him out, so he'll have a technique to beat that student. And a lot of those skills died out. So now everybody just fighting karate. You all had to work that out from there. So the other thing is, when you look at movies like Jurassic Park, basically it's saying if something was old and it died out of a soul, leave it.
Leave it right there.
When you go and you think it up again, the planet is ready for that.
Uh-huh.
All right, enough is said on that. And the last thing.
That's why the millennials leave old people enough going after care and all sort of care. Them leave the bankers and don't have no value anymore.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, sir.
My last thing I wrote down is the word communication. And why I think communication in this conversation is important is that even though our life would be night and day, we have to improve our communication with our children, children and the grandchildren, and open up that window, open up that door. Because, we came from, many of us, it was a military style of growing up. You don't talk back to your parents, and, you stay in your own little group because you're not an adult yet. You get a backhand now and then, and you feel you read, and all them kind of, you understand? So the communication suffered a little bit because these were things that messed up the flow. So instead of it really being about communication, it was more about respect and fear. You fear your parent, or you fear the grandparent, or you fear this elder, so your communication suffered in some way or the other. So we have to open up the communication. So even if your children don't like the music you like, and they don't like the phone you like, Dr. Judith, I think if the communication is at a healthy level, some proper balance could be there, and we, the next generation could say, what, I really feeling them like that, but they have some good information for me. But it would go beyond that, because now, you could say, well, hey, what happening? Look, some ingredients here. Let me see where you could cook with this. Let me see if you could handle a butter, instead of, no, we're not going to McDonald's today. We're not going to Olive Garden. No, we're not going to the Jamaican place down the road. Here's some ingredients. Go in the kitchen and cook something. And make that the conversation. Teach them how to make a rundown or oil up.
Well, my son started cooking when he was about 9. So
you see what I'm saying?
But then it has to do with how I raised him.
That is what I'm talking about.
So we're not raising our children anymore. We're entitling them.
Now, okay,
don't have no discussion with me.
Did he fear you?
He has always had a certain fear of me.
No, we are not talking about that fear.
No.
I'm just saying
fear, respectful fear.
Right. So there was
a lady came
We're wrapping up.
Together at my house.
Closing
and she said to him, she said, how is it living with, and she said, Dr. Barnes, because I work with her. She said, how is it living with him? And he says, tough. And I sat there, and he had no fear in saying it. He said, it's tough, but I need it. Okay. I'm done. Because he knows he's loved. He knows he's free to tell me he has ideas. And I mean, there's no, my son is, oh my God, there's nothing like that.
So this is why he got you the $200 phone and he get his $600 phone for himself.
But he get a $600 phone for himself because that's the way he feels about himself.
Well, that's right. But he wanted to bring you up to speed.
Closing arguments. We closing up the show.
Do you, Dr. Henry?
All right, based on what we discussed tonight, in terms of children, I have two sets. One set that's already out on their own, and another set that's coming up. In terms of their sense of fashion, I cannot expect my children to dress the way I dress and for them to have that same sense of fashion. I have to relax myself and give them some leeway, because by the time my little ones reach teenagers, whatever style they have in fashion at that point in time, I have to allow them to be in their era and not have them dress how I dress. They will never fit in amongst their own peers. They will be laughed at. They will be ridiculed. In terms of technology, they have to stay up to speed with whatever it is happening then. These same phones that we discussed tonight that are so expensive, by the time my young boys reach teenagers, this would have been an antique. The same iPhone 10, the same iPhone 10 or iPhone 11 or 12, wherever they are right now, by the time Kimani, who's 7 right now, in 10 years from now, the iPhone 11 would have become an antique, something his parents used to use.
How old is he?
They are going to look at this, 7. They are going to look at this and wonder, how on earth did you survive using this, Daddy? How on earth did you survive using this ancient technology? So things change, time change, people change. And as the old people of today, we are, because all of us here, parents are gone. We are the old folks. We have to give the children some leeway. Let me go to a couple of the comments in closing out. Diane Roxanne Martin said, family traditions are the glue that binds one generation to another. They give kids and parents something to look forward to, as well as something to count on throughout the year. Anthony said, a phone can monitor your heart rate, your cholesterol. It can even call for help by just speaking. It's like your own personal assistant, where you could say, call the ambulance, and the phone called the ambulance for you. Remember in the 80s where they had the commercial, I've fallen and I can't get up? Things have changed. Nowadays, you could tell the phone, I've fallen, call the ambulance, and the ambulance will show up at your door. He said he understands that they're expensive, but it's value. It's beyond its value. Its value is beyond its value. And he bid us good night. I don't have a lot to say onto what you all said. You all echoed a lot of the sentiments I would have said in my closing. So I'm not going to sit here and try to reinvent anything or to repeat what you all already said. Panelists, it's been a heated, wonderful, and timely conversation. Thank each and every one of you for joining us. What good.
I've got my phone now.